Hello, third graders. Today is Monday and it is day 11 if you're following along on your packet. So go ahead, get out your math packet and find day 11. Get your minds right, get ready to work hard. Today we are talking about comparing fractions on a number line. So let me go ahead and share with you my screen. First, what we're going to do is we are going to watch a video, the visual learning. Some of you guys will probably remember this from in the classroom. We are going to watch this video and we are going to talk about it. We're going to stop and talk throughout. So get ready. Here we go. Remember, the numerator is the number on top. That represents the number of parts that you are referring to. The denominator is the number on the bottom, and the denominator tells us how many equal parts make up one whole. Okay, you guys can shout this out right now. What's the same? I see 2/3 and I see 1/3. So first, who can tell me what is the same? Did you see it? What is the same is the denominator, and the denominator is 3. That means there are 3 equal parts that make up one whole. Now, what's different? What do you notice is different? The numerator, you're right. In this fraction 2, our numerator is 2. That means there are 2 parts of the whole. And in this fraction, the numerator is 1. That means only 1 part of the whole. So the denominators are the same. There are 3. And the numerators are different. Okay. So which one is the correct comparison? So 1/3 is closer to 0 and 2/3 is closer to 1. So this says 2/3 is less than 1/3. That means 2/3 is smaller than 1/3. What do you think? Is that our answer choice? This answer says 1/3 is greater than 2/3. Is 1/3 bigger or more than 2/3? The last one, 2/3 is greater than 1/3. Is 2/3 bigger or does 2/3 have more of the whole than 1/3? Which one do you think is the answer? If you said 2/3 is greater than 1/3, you got it correct. So another way that you could tell which fraction is greater, since the denominators are the same, you can look at the numerator. Here in 1/3, I only have 1 part out of 3. In 2/3, that means I have 2 parts out of 3. Which is more, 1 or 2? Think about it this way. Would you rather have 1 piece of pizza or 2? I would rather have 2 pieces of pizza because that's more. Let's see. Okay, let's try some more problems. All right, it says you can also use fraction strips to compare the fractions. Drag the 1/3 strips to show 2/3 in one row and 1/3 in another. All right, so I have 1/3 here and I need to show 2/3. So how many of these 1/3 blocks do I need to take? Here's 1/3 and I need to show 2/3. So I'm going to take one more. I have 2 1/3, which is the same as 2/3. Okay, in another row, I need to show 1/3. So I'm just going to take one of these. Now, looking at these, can you tell me which one has more? Which has more, 2/3 or 1/3? 2/3, you're right. 2/3 has more. If you notice, it's closer to 1 whole than 1/3. Awesome. So what we're going to do next is we are going to work on some problems together. All right. So let's take a look at this first problem. And I'm going to get my tools out so I am ready to go. All right. This first one says, when two fractions refer to the same whole, that means when they have the same denominator, what do you notice when the denominators you are comparing are the same? So when the denominator is the same, I can compare their numerators, or the number that's on top, or use one number line to compare them. So in the visual learning model example, it had 2/3 and 1/3, right? And so it had 2/3 and 1/3. They had the same denominator. So we used one number line to compare them and saw that 2/3 was closer to 1 whole, or we could take a look and see that 2 is bigger than 1. Here, write a problem that compares two fractions with different numerators. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to have different numerators. And I want to get rid of this. I'm going to move that to the side. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to hit my drawing tool. We're going to have let's say 1/4 and 3/4. Those are our two fractions. They have the same denominator, which is 4 or fourths, but they have different numerators, so 1 and 3. What I can do is I can put this on a number line. There's my nice straight line. I'm going to label this with 0 and 1. I'm going to go back and label after I get my lines all nice in here. If I draw a line down the middle, how many equal parts do I have? I've got 2 equal parts, so that shows halves, but I need to make sure I am showing fourths. So I'm going to divide each of those sections again. Now, how many equal parts do I have? Good, I've got 4. All right, so let me go back and get my drawing tools. I'll use a different color. All right, so this is 0 and this is 1 whole. All right, so if I have 4 equal parts, count with me to see how many equal parts we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I've got fourths. I need to show 1/4, and that would be right here. This represents 1/4. If I want to show 3/4, I'm going to go 1 equal part, 2 equal parts, 3 equal parts. So here is 3/4. Okay, so you've got 3/4 here and 1/4 here. Which one is bigger? Which one is closer to 1? Which one has more? 1/4 or 3/4? You're right, 3/4 is bigger. So when I write my comparison, I'm going to say 1/4 is less than 3/4. All right, moving on. In 3 through 5, compare fractions using less than, greater than, or equal to. Use your number lines to help. All right, so here is what we're working with, 2/4 and 2/3. Now, you notice that there are 2 number lines here. That's because our denominators are not the same, so we cannot put them on the same number line. Okay, so the first one is 2/4. I'm going to get out a little stamp. All right, so 2/4 right there. And the second one is 2/3. So I'm going to put my stamp on 2/3. Now, take a look at your number lines. You've got 0 here and 1 here. When you are comparing, you are looking to see which one has more, which one is closer to 1. So go ahead and tell me, which one is closer to 1? 2/4 or 2/3? They both have 2, but the size of the piece is different. Which is closer to 1? If you said 2/3, you are correct. So we are going to say 2/4 is less than or smaller than 2/3. Okay, the next one. I'll use stars this time. We're comparing 2/6 and 2/3. So here, 0, 1, 2/6 and 0, 1/3, 2/3. Okay, they both have 2 parts, but the size of the piece is different. Okay, which fraction is closer to 1 whole? 2/6 or 2/3? You're right. 2/3 is bigger, so 2/6 is less than 2/3 because 2/3 is closer to 1 whole. All right, last but not least, we have 5/8 and 3/8. So these both have the same denominator, but different numerators. So let's take a look. 5/8, so 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. So I'm going to put my stamp there. And 3/8, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So here we have the same number line, and we've got 0 and 1. Which fraction is closer to 1 whole? 5/8 or 3/8? You're right, it's 5/8. Very good. 5/8 is greater than 3/8. So now, friends, what I would like for you to do is go ahead and take a look at your practice problems. I know you can do it. Try on your own and use the paper that's in front of you from your packet, or use some scrap chewed paper. I love showing my work on scrap paper. I have work all over, okay, guys? And show your work, try your best, and we know you can do it. Check in with your teachers if you have any questions, okay? All right, have a good rest of your day. Good luck.